Welcome to episode 53 of the Eat for Endurance podcast. I'm your host, Claire Shorenstein, and I am so excited to have Mike Wardian back on the show for you guys today. I did an athlete nutrition profile on Mike back in April 2020, right after he won the Quarantine Backyard Ultra with 262 miles in 63 hours. I highly recommend you check out episode 26 to learn more about Mike's nutrition story as a mostly vegan athlete, either before or after you listen to this episode. Mike is an all-around amazing guy, always a joy to talk to, full of passion and positivity, and of course, an unbelievable athlete. Mike wears so many hats, it's hard to keep track of it all. He is a professional runner, mostly focusing on ultra-endurance events, but you can find him doing pretty much every distance out there. And you can also find him doing CrossFit, playing pickleball, cycling, rowing, and setting all kinds of fun, random world records, all while working full-time as an international shipbroker and spending time with his wife and 2 teenage sons. He only sleeps 4 hours a night, but it's still mind-boggling how he makes time for everything that he does. And he seemingly does everything. I asked Mike to come back on the show to chat about his running home Transcon run that he completed this past summer. If you're not familiar with this project, he ran 3,234 miles over 61 days from May 1st to July 1st across 13 states from San Francisco to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, all while raising over $100,000 for World Vision's global clean water initiatives. I wanted to dig into all the details of how he fueled himself across the country and, of course, discuss some of the fun and crazy things that happened along the way. So without further ado, please enjoy my chat with ultra runner and second-time podcast guest, Mike Wardian. Mike, welcome back to the Eat for Endurance podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great, man. Good to hear your voice, and thanks for having me back.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 2.5 years since you came on the show. I could have sworn it was less, but I feel like everything is just such a blur in the pandemic because we recorded literally, I think it must have been like a month after things shut down, and you had just won the Quarantine Backyard Ultra, and just so much going on. So thanks again for coming back on and spending time with me.
Oh man, yeah, no, it was really hard to keep track of time during the pandemic. It just seemed like kind of like a timeout for the universe. So I completely understand.
Yeah, well, I have to start off by saying a huge congrats to you on the Transcon run. I know it's been some time. You finished in July, so a belated congrats to you. But that's largely why I wanted to bring you back on to kind of get more details on how you fueled yourself running across America. And I know in our last show, this was back in 2020. You were talking about how much you wanted to do that run later that year. I think we were talking about the fall, and I'm just so glad it finally happened for you. A little bit later, but that's okay. It was awesome.
Well, yeah, me too. I'm glad it happened at all because later in that year, I went to a thing called the Spartan Games, and I ended up herniating some discs in my back, and so I thought I might lose the ability to run, or at least run for at the same level, and so. Coming back from that, that's when I decided. I was like, oh man, I'm totally going to do it. And then it was all about trying to put the pieces in place to allow it to happen. And I was able to do that by hiring somebody at our company, and a guy named Mark Cody, which was awesome. He did a great job covering me so that I could have that adventure and get a chance to, fulfill a very, very, very long time dream. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I feel so lucky, man. Just so lucky that, I was able to get healthy and then had the support from my family and friends. And then I did it for clean water for World Vision USA. So
I saw that. Amazing.
Yeah.
And you raised over $100,000, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, we're at like, it's crazy. Like that was like the biggest fundraising goal I've ever set. And so for me, that was almost scarier than the run. So that was cool to, get to change so many people's lives. And I think right now it's at $116,000, and we just got another $4,000 from a company. And then I'm going to pick up another check tomorrow from Erskine Limited for another $5,000. So, it's actually been amazing to see the amount of people that have come out in different ways to support the run. People coming out to run, and then other people donating, and then people donating and running. And it's been really cool.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like you're still fundraising, so I will definitely throw that link up in the show notes to see if listeners want to contribute as well, especially after hearing your inspiring story of running across America. So.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping to I actually have quietly. I don't know if I've announced this yet, but I feel like I want to, now that I've raised 100,000 for them, I want to try to make it 1 million. And so I've got some other projects. Yeah, I've got some other projects that I'm doing with them. Like next year, I'm going to be in LA, running the LA Marathon as Forrest Gump to try to set a world record. I might try to set a world record as playing pickleball for like 24 hours. So definitely got some fun things on the burners.
That's amazing. I mean, we can always rely on you for interesting records and other things that you're doing. And I saw that you play pickleball now, and that's really cool.
Oh my God, so into it. I actually just had to leave. Like all my friends are like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, "Dude, I got a podcast. I got to go home." So.
Oh, I'm so sorry to tear you away from that.
No, it's okay. It's like I'll go back after we're done. So it's been cool to kind of learn a new sport and all the nuance around it and the kind of unwritten rules and etiquette and just like the whole. Yeah, it's like it's like learning a new language. There's a lot to know, and I feel like I'm gaining skills, but I'm lacking in so many still. So it's fun. It's fun to be a rookie at something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was gonna ask this like at the end, but I'm gonna ask it now. I realized in our last chat, I didn't really do a good job highlighting the fact that you work full time as an international shipbroker, and you do all of these like runs at elite level. We talked about how frequently you raced, and for my listeners, it was episode 26. You want to go back and listen. And I had to go back and listen because it had been so long and remind myself what I'd asked you. But we were talking about just like the frequency of, the running and all the stuff. And of course you're sponsored and you do this basically at a professional level. You also have a family and all these other commitments. You're a beekeeper now, which we're totally going to get into at some point.
And oh my God, they left me. They left me. Again,
no. What happened?
I don't know. Dude, they were crushing as of like 2 weeks ago. And I just went and checked them 2 days ago and they're all gone again.
What? Wait, did they come back? I don't know much about this.
Sometimes or sometimes they get robbed. There's like bees that'll come in and steal their honey and stuff. Or sometimes the queen will just leave, or they don't like the queen and they kill her. And so I don't know what happened, but this is like the third year in a row that I've had bees and I've made it almost the whole summer. And then I'm making it into the winter and then they don't make it. And so I got to change something.
That's intense.
No, it's the worst, man. So I'm not a good beekeeper. I was joking. I'm a good bee purchaser and procurer, but not a very good beekeeper because they don't make. But yeah, so it's.
I saw you got stung on the head and I was just
oh my God, that's
intense.
So hurt. Yeah. And they're usually pretty cool. It was actually funny on the cross country run. I saw this group of 15 hives and I was so inspired. I ran over to it. It was right along this country road in near Sacramento. And I didn't realize that all bees aren't nice. I mean, I knew that all bees aren't nice, but my bees that I've always had are the Italian, super nice ones. But there's aggressive Russian bees and stuff. And
okay, wait, what? Aggressive Russian bees and nice Italian? Is this for real?
No, yeah, for real. Yeah, you can look it up. There's all different
hilarious.
Kinds. Yeah. So anyhow, I got stung day 2 or 3 of my run because I was just dumb. Bad. I was it was fun. I mean,
I feel like only you would go up and be hello to the bees. They're so friendly. Who does that? What? Yeah. Everyone I know just runs away from bees.
It's really, I think what's weird is when I first started doing beekeeping, I was so scared of getting stung, and I haven't gotten stung a lot, but I think it's almost animals smell fear, that thing where it's if you're really afraid to ride a horse, it doesn't work as well, right? So it's kind of like that. So I don't know what happened to my bees. They suck.
Wait, so did you get honey though, or you got no honey out of it either?
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Last year I was well, I should have just taken their honey if I knew they were going to leave me and it not get robbed by the other bees. But no, there's no real honey in there. It's just kind of like all hollowed out. So I think another hive came in and stole all the honey and took it away. So.
Oh, that is such a bummer. Is it
Yeah.
expensive? It must be expensive to do this, no? Or maybe not.
It's actually,
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's not that much actually. Like the startup cost was probably like $1,000, and then the first 2 years I actually captured the bees, like swarms, with my friend Brian. So I didn't have to pay for bees. This year I actually bought bees because I was like, why the bees, like the ones that catch keep leaving, and so then I bought bees and they were crushing, literally crushing. Like there's like they were so many that they were overfilling one whole layer. And so I think what I did is I should have put the layer on earlier and I put it on too late. And what happens is sometimes it'll strain the hive because they have more space to cover, but they don't actually have enough people to cover the space. And I think that's probably what happened is I put the thing on too late and then they were like, hey, we can't cover all this space.
Wait, so does someone need to take care of your bees, like while you were away running?
No,
No, they just do their thing.
Yeah, they're like you should. And again, like I've failed 3 years in a row, so maybe I should be doing more. But you're supposed to like try to like leave them as much as possible from what the stuff I've read and seen. But like, what I probably need to do is like you can treat for mites and you can like do some other stuff to help augment their supply of pollen. Like you can make some simple syrup sugars and stuff and put it out for them to be able to eat up. But there's so many bee friendly plants in our neighborhood that they seem like they were doing really well. So
yeah.
Again,
failure. Are you gonna try again?
Yeah, no, totally. I'm gonna try
again.
But I'm gonna try something different because if I just keep failing, like obviously something's not working. So
yeah, you don't seem like the kind of guy who would just like give up and be like, beekeeping isn't for me. You're gonna be like, keep going with it.
Well, yeah, but like maybe I don't have them in, like maybe I should change the location of where I have the hive. Like I have it in the kids' old tree house that they don't really use. So like maybe I can put it somewhere else, but it seems like a pretty good spot. But I don't know, maybe it's not.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to.
Sorry to get sidetracked.
No. I love it. I love all of the windy paths we're taking. This is fantastic. I was going to get to all this stuff at some point. May as well talk about it now. No, I was just saying, like, I mean, it's so impressive and kind of inspiring and also just like mind boggling. Like, I know you only sleep 4 hours a night, so that's one reason, I suppose. But I'm still trying to wrap my head around how you manage your time. You know what I mean? Like, you're just do so much and it's so great and you're so passionate about so many things. But maybe you have some words of wisdom for those of us who like just don't have our shit together as much because you do so much.
Well, yeah, curious. I think the biggest thing is I wake up early. I think that gives me a little bit of advantage. And yeah, I don't crave sleep as much as other people. So that's I think another thing that allows me to do a little more. And then I just try to fit everything in. So try to honor all my obligations while still, kind of chasing my passions. So, this morning I was up at like 4:45, met my friend Tom and did a CrossFit workout, came home, helped get the kids ready for school, took the dogs for a walk. I didn't actually run today because I have a 100-miler coming up.
Which one?
It's actually it's like a brand new one, first year race called Massanutton's Revenge.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, and it's kind of almost like a fat ass, so it's like pretty low key. Virginia Happy Trails. I don't know if you know those guys.
No.
Anyhow, it's a cool run group around here. And like I don't have any expectations. My legs are still coming back from the run across the country, but yeah, it'll be fun to be out in the woods for a long day and yeah.
So like a race like that, do you sign up just like this is fun, this is what I love to do, no expectations, just kind of hanging out with friends and doing my thing? Is that kind of what you do, or do you have other kind of goals in mind?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to, win, but
that little small detail.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really small race though. I think, there's maybe 20 people in it or something. But it's a first year event, so I think that'll be kind of cool, and it'll be a chance to run in the Shenandoah Mountains in the fall, which is always beautiful, like with the changing of the colors and everything. And then it's like starts on a Friday, so hopefully I can get done by sometime on Saturday, and
Yeah.
it's not like the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah,
Okay.
it'll be a good test. Like I haven't run that far since the last day of the Transcon, where I ran like 104 miles. I think
Yeah.
it's like 107 miles with around 28,000 feet of climbing. So it's almost on par with Hard Rock or something like that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Well, I hope that race goes well.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
yeah. Okay. So you mentioned getting injured at the Spartan Games, and obviously, like, we've had a big gap between when we last chatted, and you were up to all those FKTs and all these different things, and the Transcon. So let's dig into that time period. You said you weren't even sure you were able to run again, and I'd love to hear a little bit about your recovery from this injury, especially like how you were focusing on nutrition. I know you were working with a whole team of professionals to, training wise and medical stuff, and, to kind of get you there. Did you do anything on the nutrition front, or how did you kind of approach this whole recovery situation?
That's a good question. Yeah, so I worked with the team at MedStar Health to get back my fitness and to see if I needed surgery or to see if I could do some cortisone injections, which is what I ended up doing. So I did 2 cortisone injections in my back, like big needle, kind of into
Thanks.
your
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I thought it would hurt more than it did, but it was definitely not the most pleasant feeling. But it was way better than the amount of pain that I was in, because it was like a pinched nerve,
Oh.
which I've never had that before, but now I know that I had no idea what pain really felt like, because that was the most ridiculous amount of pain that I've ever experienced. So that was good, just to get a feel for like what that real pain feels like. But after getting the cortisone injections, then I started doing physical therapy with the team at MedStar, and it was a lot of stuff that I had already been doing with the guy that I work with, Jesse Fuller, like personal training, physical therapy type stuff. So it was a lot of open books, a lot of down dog type movements.
Hmm.
It was just the Cobra stretch, basically, like to
Yeah.
try to, yeah, which is like, that's your big move, but it works, like, like that was surprising. And then it was a lot of just stem, a lot of massage, a lot of kind of functional strengthening exercises. So like resistance band stuff. It's all the kind of stuff that we probably should be doing more of, that I know myself, I neglect unless I need to do it. But some of that stuff is good, just to, like, I do maintenance now, with dead bugs, bird dogs, bridges. And then I'm doing like CrossFit, like 4 or 5 days a week, and then working with Jesse 2 days a week.
Oh, wow.
But
That's a lot.
so it was a lot of just kind of getting my strength back, and then I had to kind of just take it easy for probably 3 months, just to heal it, and just get everything back in place. And then the cool thing about running is it doesn't care who you are, what you've done in the past, and if you're not working at it, then you don't stay at the level that you were. So I had to work back into fitness kind of easily and slowly, and then build back up. And so from end of 2020, I started running again. I think I got injured in October of 2020 and started running again in like January of 2021, and kind of worked my way back to fitness, and then started the run across the country in May of 2022.
Yeah.
So
And what about
yeah, it was kind of a long process. And as far as the nutrition goes, I kind of didn't really change that much. Like I've always been a vegetarian and eat eggs and honey. Those are the two animal products that I eat. Since the Transcon, I've stopped eating eggs. So,
Oh, interesting. What
yeah,
led
so
to that change?
I was just so sick of eggs. So, so sick of eggs because I ate them a lot during the Transcon
I
and
bet.
I just was ready to be done with them. And I've, gone without eggs for times in the past, but I just needed a break. And so,
Yeah.
and it's been fine. Like I don't feel like I'm really missing anything.
Mm.
But yeah, I was just ready. I'm so sick of egg sandwiches and uh, but I mean, for running, like for breakfast, like it's a good solid breakfast.
Oh yeah.
So I'd have like, I don't know if we want to talk about the Transcon or leading up to the Transcon,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah, I'll talk. I'm gonna ask. Let's hold off for just a second because I'm
yeah,
gonna get into all the details there.
okay,
A quick question. You did, I know you did the Israel FKT. That was 631 miles in 10 days. Was that your longest run prior to the Transcon?
yes, longest continuous run, like that
Okay.
longest number of days in a row. So
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely
So,
my longest
yeah.
run up to that point, and so it was pretty cool during the Transcon. Like when I got to like 11 days, I was like, holy cow, this is like a new record, like
Yeah.
because I'd done like 10 marathons in 10 days
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
and I'd run across Israel in 10 days, but that starting that 11th day, it was all new territory for me.
Totally. And just for anyone who doesn't know the stats, so I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you ran 3,234 miles over 61 days, May 1st to July 1st of this year across 13 states from San Francisco to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware.
Yep,
Is that right? Okay, I think I got
that
it
is all right. Good
right.
research. Yes.
Yeah. And so I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean, it's just like an insane number of miles a day. You were doing like what, roughly 50 miles a day or so?
The
Except for that
goal,
last day?
yeah, the goal was like 50 miles, and it actually averaged out to about 52 miles a day.
Okay, got
My
it.
longest day was like 104 miles,
Yeah, yeah.
and my shortest day was like 49.88 because I
Wow.
miscalculated kilometer
Oh,
because I keep my watch in kilometers, and so I thought I was at enough kilometers, and
uh,
then when I stopped it, I was like, I'm not gonna just go down to the end of the parking lot, like.
yeah, yeah, totally. And I guess, just I wanted to in part throw those stats out in comparison to what you did before because I mean, you've done all kinds of just incredible projects, around the world, but prepping for your running home project it was it was like on a different level, right? And I know you'd been dreaming about it for so many years. And as you mentioned, like the logistics of it and just like all of the things, the finances, I know you had to pay for some of this, but you also had sponsors. And I mean, it's just a big, big thing to prep for. So I'm curious, especially when it comes to your fitness and nutrition, how prepping for this was different, and did you do anything different compared to other events? Yeah, just kind of curious about that part.
Yeah, so I did do some things differently. Like I normally hover between like 138 pounds and 142, 43 pounds.
Hmm.
I intentionally put on muscle mass leading up to the Transcon, so I got up to about 146 pounds. So I got little CrossFit muscles. I was doing lots and lots of strength training
Hmm.
because I figured I was good for the running. And so I wanted to have a lot of strength just to
Yeah.
be able to withstand what I was going to ask my body to do. So that was a big difference. And then as far as like eating, I was like trying all kinds of stuff to see, like I know what works, for up to 10 days, right? But I don't know what's
Sure.
going to work for 20 days or 30 days. And I'll tell you that after about 3 weeks, like a lot of the stuff that I thought would work wasn't working anymore, and nothing tasted good. So
Mm.
like your favorite thing would, whatever it is, would just not be good. Like, and so, but like, you got to eat. So I would continue to eat, but I just wouldn't enjoy it. So it was really not fun. That part was like
Yeah.
probably my least favorite part, because like one of the coolest parts to me about being a runner is you get to kind of eat what you like and as much as you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
And when you take that fun part out, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever had plantar fasciitis. It's like
Yes.
you
It's
can run
horrible.
with plantar fasciitis. It doesn't really get better or worse, but it just sucks all the fun out of the running, or at least for me it does. And I
Yeah.
felt like that's what the Transcon did for me with food. Like I just didn't want to eat ever. But every hour I would force myself to eat, because if you don't eat, you just can't keep going. And so, um, it was that to me was really hard. Was like losing losing the passion for food, because
Yeah.
I really like food.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you were running for like what, 11 plus hours each day. So, I mean, we're talking, and yeah, I know I heard elsewhere you were, trying to aim for like 5 to 10,000 calories a day. So it's not like you just need to have a few meals. Like we're talking
No,
tons of nutrition. So that must have been a real struggle. Like,
it was
how
such a
did you,
chore.
yeah, yeah,
It was really, really hard. Like, and like engineered foods are great, but like
yeah,
after a while, like it's just got to be more real foods for me. So,
yeah, yeah,
and then it's just, the prep time and the cooking and the um, cleanup and like all that kind of stuff just adds up. And so I was really lucky um, to have a guy named Eric Bells. So I paid him to crew me, and he was kind of my crew chief, my driver, the cook, um, logistics person, and then my dad was there too for a lot of it.
yeah.
So,
Amazing.
yeah, so I mean, it was great. Like I had a really good team, and another guy named Henry was there for a long time too, a friend of my dad's, and then we had people coming out, and one of the I think best things was like just when you're sick of like it's also hard to just think of new things to eat,
Yeah,
like because you're like, oh, I can't really have something too crazy because I got to run 50 miles tomorrow. So it's kind of like if you think about it, like every day is like the night before a race. So
yeah,
so it's like you can't get too crazy and be like, oh, tonight I'm gonna have Indian food, like
yeah, yeah,
or Thai food. So it's got to be kind of bland. I mean, not tasteless, but just kind of like straightforward. And so like that made it tricky too, is because I like to, I like all flavors,
yeah,
and different ethnicities and cuisine. And so like that was hard. And then but
yeah,
it was awesome. My buddy Phil, who helped me with the route and like navigating like volunteers and people that wanted to come out and run, he had kind of a list of like things that I like to eat. And so we had a lot of people that just went above and beyond, like bringing food to the trip. And so like one of the weird things that I started to eat that I don't normally eat in real life, I called it, but like
yeah.
I drank so much soda during the run.
Oh, yeah. I bet
Uh,
that was helpful though.
oh gosh, it's so good, man. Like you can drink like 12 ounces and get in like a couple hundred calories and sugar
Totally.
and salts. And then some guys in the Midwest introduced me to like caffeinated ginger ale 81,
Oh,
which
wow.
was
Okay.
amazing. Oh, it's so good because it like calms your stomach, but then it also gives you a little boost of caffeine.
Mm,
Um, which like I don't usually need, like I don't drink caffeine on the regular, so that was
yeah.
unusual. And then I'd have tea some mornings, especially if it was cold, and that's not something I'm normally doing. I did a lot of honey, a lot of almond butter, a lot of eggs, a lot of plant-based cheeses, which in real
Hmm.
life I don't normally dig. Like I think most of them are pretty bad, but I was
Yeah.
surprised we actually found some like smoked Gouda that was really good, that was plant-based. And most of the shopping too is like I ran along Route 50, and so it's kind of rural in most places. So there's
Yeah.
not like a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's or a Wegmans or um, it's mostly Walmart. So like you're shopping
Yeah.
from Walmart, maybe if you're lucky, or Costco. In Colorado there were some local places that had some okay stuff, but mostly it's Walmart. And I was surprised at how much selection there was at Walmart. And then I ate a
Mm,
ton of fruits. Not as many vegetables, but lots of fruit. So the vegetables, like just was too much chewing, like, to be honest. Like it was
Yeah.
and not enough calories for like the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
juice wasn't worth the squeeze, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
And you had an RV, right? So it's like if you went to
yeah.
Costco, like where would you even put all that food? Like it's not like you have a massive freezer or something,
No,
right?
that's exactly right. Like, and we had a pretty big RV, so we had a decent
Okay.
sized fridge, but yeah, like, so we would always have like blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, avocados, guacamole, salsa, um, pickles, and everybody would bring pickles because they're
Yeah.
easy and
Yeah.
vegetarian, and so like everyone would bring pickles. But then I started getting like the craziest cravings, and so I started craving like pie just because it's like easy to eat and yeah, and lots of calories. So like,
I saw that. I saw lots of pies on
yeah.
your social media when I was
Yeah,
following you.
and it's so weird because like I haven't had a slice of pie or dessert really since then, but like that worked really, really, really well for me. So
Yeah.
yeah, so like that was something that was surprising that I was really happy about. And then um, I work with a company called South Block, and they sent some like smoothie bowls that you could freeze, so that was great. And then I ate a ton of soaked oats, oatmeal, and then Big Spoon Roasters as a sponsor, and so they do all kinds of different nut butters. So I'd have like pistachio, cashew butter, almond butter, and this is something weird. Like before the Transcon, peanut butter didn't really work for me, but
Interesting.
during the Transcon, I would have every day. I'd have a peanut butter, banana, honey, and jam sandwich, which sounds
Hmm.
totally gross, dude.
No, it
But
doesn't. It sounds delicious. That's
uh,
pretty much what I do without the jam. I
well,
do
that
peanut
yeah,
butter, peanut butter,
that's
honey, banana.
yeah, that's I do that one all the time, but then throwing the extra jam on it is like,
Yeah.
why do you
Well,
need like another sweetener and another flavor? But it's extra
because you're
calories.
burning like
Yeah.
a shit ton of calories every day. That's why. That's why you need it.
It's almost like when people put like Parmesan and stuff, you don't even really notice it, but you get the
Yeah.
benefit of it. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so that was actually a weird combination. And then I'd put pickles on like that sandwich sometimes too. It was just weird. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like people say like I've never been pregnant, but like kind of like you just get like a craving for something random and then
Yeah.
try to eat it. And then I also at night, a lot of times it was hard to find stuff in places for me. So I did a lot of pasta, a lot of just chick patties, which are like Morningstar Farm, kind of
Hmm.
vegan. Yeah, like a chicken breast, but it's fake.
Hmm.
And then sometimes like Beyond Meat burgers, like if we went
Hmm.
to somewhere, a lot of like I don't eat those normally just because I feel like they kind of are too heavy for what I like. But
Hmm.
during the run, they actually felt pretty good when I could get them, so I would do that, like something like that. Uh,
Yeah.
and then surprisingly, like burritos too. Like I ate so many burritos, like
Why is
rice.
that surprising?
Well, like
The
I was
beans.
surprised. No, I was surprised they were so hard to find.
Oh.
Burritos.
Okay.
So like, Eric became like I asked him like, hey, because I'm sponsored by a place called District Taco here, and
Yeah, I've seen that.
they're only like around here. But I was like, hey,
Okay.
dude, can you just get a Chipotle or something? And he's like, dude, I haven't seen a Chipotle in like 4 states. Like,
Oh.
but I was like, we got into this little town. And I was like, oh, I bet there's one here. And he was like, sure, yeah, I'll find you one. And the next time I came in for the aid station, he had taken a homemade burrito because he'd making me this burrito like 100 times, and had wrapped it like a Chipotle burrito and like written, like the V on it and like all the stuff, and to pretend like it was like a Chipotle one because I was
That's
getting,
hilarious.
kind of tired of like the homemade one. So anyhow, I was like tasting. I was like, this seems really familiar. And because I had asked for like salsa, I was like, did they put salsa in it? He's like, oh yeah, they said there's no salsa available today or something.
That's hilarious.
Like, dude,
And
this
she
is
had
your
no idea.
burrito. Like I like got out and I was like, that was really good, but that was just your burrito, wasn't it? And he's like, dude, I was wondering if you were gonna notice. But yeah, it was.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was hard. Like he did such a good job trying to get me to eat because like I don't know if you've ever crewed for somebody when it starts to get hard in a longer race and like their favorite foods aren't working anymore and like
Yeah.
you're trying to get them to eat and like everything looks like broken glass and they're just like,
Yeah, yeah,
no, I don't
yeah,
want that. And you're like,
yeah,
no, you need to eat because you
yeah.
got to keep going. And then I ate most of the time, like I'd come in and sit down. And the other thing, and I don't know if you might know this better than me, I wasn't interested in regular water. I only wanted sparkling water.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I was
Huh.
super persnickety too. Like, if like I really liked Pellegrino, which is not easy to find in the middle of the
That's
country.
hilarious.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
You only
then
wanted the fancy sparkling water.
yes, exactly. Like Pellegrino or sometimes they could find like Liquid Death sparkling water or um, Perrier.
Hmm.
But like, I mean, I would do whatever, but like those were my favorite. And so like they would like go to the top of the bin at like Walmart because like it's hard to find that kind of stuff. Like we take
Yeah.
for granted, like I don't know if you've noticed that since moving from New York, but like some things where you're like it's just ubiquitous
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the East Coast or like in a big city is like not something that even is offered in different parts of the country.
Yeah, I mean, in Santa Cruz, like we're close enough to the Bay Area that we get most things, but I think I just really took for granted just like having really good food whenever I wanted it. It's
Yes.
just food's
Yeah.
pretty mediocre out here for the
Yeah.
most part. So yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole sparkling water thing. I have no idea why that is. I mean,
Dude, I don't know if it
was it
was
a
from the
texture?
minerals
I don't
or
know.
like
Yeah, I don't know. That
or
is
it's
so
just
bizarre.
because I'm drinking so much, it just needs
Yeah,
to like have
be
some
different.
appeal. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes,
Eh,
I mean, I know when I'm sick of plain water, like sparkling water just seems more appealing and fun and it's tickly and tingly and whatever. But that didn't bother your stomach if you were drinking too much of it? Didn't give you gas or anything like that?
No, I was surprised. It
Okay,
actually
cool.
worked better than regular water, and it
Oh,
didn't sit
nice.
as heavy, dude, either.
Oh, okay. Great.
Which is yeah, I thought it was great. Like, and I would even put it in like electrolytes. So like, if I was using like a gel, like a goo tab,
Yeah, yeah.
or just you can't find I couldn't find, or at least along our route we couldn't find like fresh squeezed juice, so
Mm.
we would just buy oranges and then I would my team would like hand squeeze them, and then eventually we bought like a juicer, so I would
Oh, cool.
dump sparkling water into like fresh
Nice.
squeezed orange juice, so that's actually like super
A
good
little
calories,
spritzer.
got
Yeah.
yes exactly, and it just went down super easy and um just kind of added calories. So it's all about
Yeah.
like when he would make me like grilled cheese with plant-based cheese, he would butter like vegan butter the inside of the sandwich,
And
the
the outside.
outside of the
Yeah.
sandwich, and then cook it in like coconut oil. So like so it was probably like a 1200 calorie sandwich at the end of
Sure.
all that, and it was like yeah, it didn't matter. Like I started, like I said, I got up to like 146, and my leanest I was I think 134 maybe.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay.
so like 12 pounds.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I could feel it, man. I was, I'm still,
Where are you at now?
I think I was at 141, 142 the other
Okay.
day.
So you're getting
So
back.
yeah, so I'm definitely like back up to where I want to be. And starting to like feel like I'm putting a little bit of muscle back on and just not crashing out. Before it was weird. Like I would be like, oh, I'm good. And then at like 2 o'clock, I'd be like, oh, I need to go lay down. And then
Hmm.
I was just, yeah, really, really tired. And I've been telling other people, it's like every day was like in my head, I thought like the longer I went, the stronger I would get. And so it would just be easier. And what I didn't account for is the longer you go, the more exhausted you get. And so it's like
Yeah.
your body is so strong, but also your mind and your body are also just wearing out. And so like
Yeah.
it's this really kind of awesome balance between like you're getting so strong because you're putting in so many miles and time on your feet, and kind of like just you're hardened to the environment too because you're just out there so long. So like I'd have people come and run with me, and by like they would be like, I'm going to stay the whole day and run the whole 50 miles. I'd be like, awesome, man, that would be great. And then by like 1 o'clock, when it got to be like 110 degrees and like blazing sun, and we're on the pavement, and cars have been zipping past us at like 80 miles an hour, like, and they're starting to really rig because they're not used to that much heat. They're just like, yeah, I'm done. And like I had a lot of people that did make it, but like so many more people came out and were like, I'm gonna make it. And also I think it's hard too because you're kind of running someone else's pace. So
Sure.
Like they're running like super slow for most people. I was running like 12 to like 15-minute miles, and then they're stopping when I want to stop, and like so it's really hard. And then they're excited, and so they're maybe not taking such good care of their nutrition as they could. But what else I got into is I would have like Slurpees when it got really hot. So like Slurpees or ices. So like that was really good calories, and then also it would just cool you down from the inside. So
absolutely,
that was like a nice trick.
Yeah. Wait, one follow-up question. So you were eating, it sounds like, to help reach your caloric needs, like in part just tons of fat, right? I mean, obviously you're having a lot of sugars and stuff, right? But so that didn't lead to any issues, like that didn't bother your stomach. You dealt pretty well with it. I guess because you were moving pretty slowly. So
I think it was exactly because I was moving slowly. That's what I think is interesting is like when you look at someone who like Pete Kostelnik, who set the record, like he was eating like I was eating, but then he was running more like 7 or 8 minutes per mile. And I just can't imagine like slamming like
crazy
grilled cheese or 1,200 calories, and then probably 1,500, 2,000 calories, and then having to run like 7-8 minute pace. Like that was hard. Like at the end of the run, I was like, I'm not going to run with a full stomach anymore. I'm going to be able to run all the hills. I'm not running between 1 and 4. I had all these like requirements. Because like you can't really you just whatever the distance and time is, like you just got to do it. So it's like you don't get the chance to run on an empty stomach. Like there's not the ability to do that.
How much sleep were you getting every night?
At the beginning, like the first week or so, I was getting about 4 to 5 hours like I normally do because I was stupid and just up playing on my phone, like doing social media or playing chess or just being stupid. And then after the first 2 weeks, my body was like, no, that doesn't work. And so I was getting between like 6 and 7 hours of sleep. So basically I'd start at 6 in the morning, finish at like 6 at night. And then this was kind of interesting. If we were going to a hotel or something, I would start eating on the way to the hotel and then shower. But most of the time I would shower before I ate, because if I ate and then tried to force myself to shower, it became less of a 100% chance that it was going to happen. So I would either like I would be just too tired, and then sometimes I would just like not want to eat. So that was a problem. So like I wanted to try to stay clean because I didn't want to risk getting like just something like a pebble or dirt or grime that could lead to like an abrasion. Like I had some kind of nasty blisters at various points, and I didn't want them to get worse or infected or anything, because there's no chance. Like, I mean, I guess I could have taken a day off, but in my head, I wanted to try to go straight through with no rest days. And so, so like there was no like, hey, if you get sick. And I feel like I got really lucky with COVID. Like,
oh my goodness,
2 or 3 weeks before the end, one of the guys in my crew got COVID, and then my dad got COVID. And,
oh no!
They had just left, so we got super lucky and to be able to make it across the country, because like once we left San Francisco, there was no masking or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Which was fine. I mean, like I'm pretty I'm vaccinated and all that, so
Yeah,
it was
sure.
fine. But yeah, it's just not a thing. So,
Yeah. And
and
well,
even,
but then you did get it when I reached out to you. You were
oh
like
my God,
recovering from
yes.
COVID.
Oh,
That
it was
sucked.
terrible. Like I hadn't gotten it the whole time, and then I got it maybe 3 weeks after I was done, and I was like, oh, thank
Oh,
goodness that I got it then. But it was really bad for me. Like I still like feel like I'm recovering from that on top of Transcon. So like I've been super careful about. I had to cancel out of 2 like bike races in Colorado, and
oh, I
um,
saw you were supposed to do the Leadville, right? Was that what
yeah, I
you're
was supposed
doing?
to do
Leadville
Leadville and
triple bypass or something?
yeah, Leadville and the triple bypass, and I had to
Yeah.
cancel out of both of those. And
Bummer.
but I'm starting to feel like I'm getting my mojo back, so that's good. And it's been hard. Like I was surprised at how bad it really affected me, and how long it's taken to kind of feel a little bit better.
Well, I mean,
So
your body was so depleted, and I mean, I think we've
oh,
all
it
been
was
there to some
perfect.
extent.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, think about like after doing a big race of any kind, like of course you're immunocompromised. Like, of course that was the time if you were gonna catch it, you were gonna catch it then. But hey, at least better after than during.
Oh my
I
gosh,
mean,
so true.
ideally
Like
not at all, but
yeah, but actually, I'm glad I got it just so I can appreciate um, how bad it is for people. Like, I mean, you
yeah,
hear
it
about it
sucks.
and like it's it's just part of our life now. But like,
I know.
it can be really bad for people, and it can
Yeah.
linger. Like, I know my
Yes.
agent, like Josh Cox, like has some athletes that have had um, really bad reactions from it, and so he's been cautioning me to just take it super easy, and I've been for the
Yeah.
most part listening to that, and I'm not really in a big rush. So I knew that when I went into the Transcon that I was gonna there was gonna be a big price to pay. I
Sure.
sacrificed my CrossFit muscles and my taste buds, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the time away from the family, and work, and just like routine. But again, like you said, it was very much worth it, and um, I'm excited about kind of rebuilding from it, and
Yeah.
doing other big projects going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I have some more nutrition questions for you about the run. So
Yes,
in terms
sure.
of sports products, I know you're sponsored by Goo and you mentioned some Goo stuff.
Yeah,
Kind of what you kept in the RV or on hand and what you were using. What were kind of like
yeah.
your
So
go-to sports products?
yeah, so as far as like engineered nutrition, I am sponsored by
Yeah.
Goose. So I was using Goose, but not a lot. So not a lot of like straight goose. I did use the Stroop waffles quite a
I've started
bit.
using those. Those are good.
Yeah, they're
The
good, and
salted
they're like,
caramel, they're
yeah,
easy.
exactly, and they're a little bit, they're easy, and they're tasty, and they get
Yeah.
you kind of what you need. I was using the Goo tabs, like, so they're kind of like, the thing about those is they don't have a ton of calories, but they have a lot of
Yeah.
electrolytes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So sometimes I would just drop those in, especially at night if you're just kind of sipping on stuff and you don't want to like something too heavy or sweet. So the nice thing is they don't
Uh-huh.
have a lot of sugar in them.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was good. And then a lot of times it was like juice, like so orange juice if I could get it. But that's not
Hmm.
kind of engineered, except that we were
Yeah.
like squeezing them.
Were you doing any
Uh,
like vegan protein powders or recovery drinks or anything like that?
I didn't really do any of that stuff. No.
Okay.
So a lot of that stuff is like chocolatey, and I just don't like chocolate.
Mm. Oh,
Um,
that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
yeah, so it's
I
like
like
a
vanilla
weird,
sometimes, but yeah.
yeah, but like I feel like the vanilla can be like super vanilla-y, and so like
Yeah.
and chalky, and so like I haven't
Yeah,
found a
yeah.
good one yet that I really like, and I wasn't doing anything like athletic greens or anything like that, which
Yeah, yeah. That
might
was
have
me, my
been,
other question.
yeah, so I wasn't doing anything like that. I was doing vitamins, so I do like Flintstone vitamins, which I'm
Yes, I
pretty
remember that
sure
as
are not
well.
vegan.
They are
But
not
that's like,
vegan. Yeah.
yeah, but like that's
Okay.
yeah, so I do Flintstone vitamins, and then
Okay.
I'm trying to think what other engineered
Any
stuff.
bars or things like that?
I didn't do a ton of bars. I did some kind of granola bars, and then I
Mm-hmm.
mean the stoked oats isn't really engineered,
Sure.
other than it's really good oatmeal.
Yeah,
And the guy's
totally.
like an ultra runner and stuff, but
Yeah, yeah, Simon. Yeah, yeah, he's
yeah,
great.
exactly. Simon's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but like
Okay.
I was eating a lot of that stuff, and then I was eating like just kind of like granola bars though. Like, so
Yeah.
I work with like Big Spoon, and they have some bars. But like sometimes like they're, it's hard to find that kind of stuff. So just like,
Yeah.
Nature Valley or whatever, or
Sure.
like whatever they have at Walmart, basically. Like
Could you
I don't
get
really care.
anything shipped to you, or you
Oh
really just had to
yeah.
purchase anything on? Okay, so you got
Yeah,
some stuff sent to you.
like South Block was sending us the bowls, so I was doing like
Okay.
acai bowls, and they had a
Nice.
peanut butter bowl that was really good, and that was kind of freeze dried. And then, you know what I was doing that I failed to mention, were the Go squeezes, like the
Yeah, the
sauces,
applesauce. Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
those are super easy. And then I do like baby food too, so like
Yeah.
so
Okay.
that's just easy stuff. But the Go squeezes are great because you can just kind of throw them in your pouch,
Sure.
and
Sure.
like 70 or 80 cal, and like I can squeeze those things down any time of day or night, like without even
Yeah.
thinking. And that's like
Yeah.
70 calories, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. I
yeah.
want to visit. Well, you mentioned briefly some heat and everything. Like you face some really extreme weather conditions. I mean, you ran through snow, hail, heat, pretty much everything. So I
Yes.
want to know how you adjusted your nutrition and hydration based on these environmental changes.
Yeah. So when it was colder, I would definitely be taking in more like soupy type stuff,
Mm.
and some warmer stuff if it was really cold. And then in the heat, which mostly that's what we were dealing with, was heat.
Okay.
Um, so like there were a couple days where it was cold, but actually there
Like
was,
Colorado, you had a snowstorm or something, right?
yeah, Colorado, we had some snowstorm, and Nevada, we had some really cold days. And this is a funny story, but like the day before, I don't know why, I was like, hey, I wonder where, like, it's been so warm. I wonder when it's gonna get cold. And then I was like, I haven't seen like my gloves. Like I had like this whole cold weather, like Antarctic suit and everything, just in case, with like
Yeah.
balaclava and like, because
Yeah.
you never
Yeah.
know, right? Like I was like,
Sure.
I'm bringing everything, just, I'm ready for bear. And the day that it actually got cold, like no one could find any of my cold weather stuff. Like it
Oh
was
no.
it was like, they're like, I don't know, maybe Phil took it home when he left. And I'm like, I don't
Oh.
think he would do that. And like, so we are like hunting around the entire RV. Like everything's like super organized because Eric's just like a master organizer. But like there's three people living in like 25 feet. Like it's tight,
Sure.
and there's crap everywhere. And so like I go out, and I mean, basically like I don't have gloves. Like I have like a little wind cheater, like a Hoka jacket, and like I'm
Yeah.
basically freezing. And then like get to like three aid stations, or 3 hours or 4 hours in, and like, man, where's my stuff? But at least it's like warmed up. And then of course like the next day it's like 80, and they're like, oh, we found the stuff. It was under the spare tire. And I was
Oh my
like,
God.
great. So it was cool because I didn't need it for like another week and a half or so. But like the next
Okay.
time, like that day in Colorado when it was so trash, like at least I had like, real like windproof stuff, and like gloves and all the kind of
Got it.
stuff that, like, because most of the time, like, if you have the right stuff, like weather is like kind of annoying,
Yeah.
but it's not like a showstopper. But if you don't have the right stuff and you get trapped in that, it can be like a big problem. So
Yeah.
it was good to
Totally.
have all that stuff.
No, for sure. I was actually, as I mentioned, this huge storm came through yesterday, which I mean, I can't even remember the last time it rained here, unfortunately. So it's really great it's raining here. But no, I have just gotten so soft. I used to run in like literally anything, and I think it's also since having kids. I mean, my kids are still really little, and I'm always
Yeah.
tired. But still, it's like I literally remember running at the start of Hurricane Sandy like an idiot. Like I really shouldn't have done
Yeah.
that. That wasn't safe. But being like, no big deal. I'm being like basically blown in the East River here. And then like yesterday I like literally opened the door and it's like drizzly, a little windy. I'm like, ugh. Then finally got myself out. I was like pouring, but I'm like, it's actually so fun. I forgot how much fun running in the rain can be,
Oh my
But
gosh,
just
it is one of my favorite things. Like people don't love it, but I really do. I even like wear like rainy day shoes, and like it's
oh, nice.
yeah, it's really nice. But as far like, oh, I didn't answer the part about nutrition though. And Jen, during
Oh, yeah, yeah.
the hottest part, like I would take in like smoothies, or ice, and all my water bottles had ice. Like I
Yeah.
basically, I think at one point we calculated, but I had like I don't know, 50 tons worth of ice over the course of the trip or something.
Oh my
Like
God.
I had ice. I used so much ice. So like I would have two handhelds with ice in them.
Yeah.
I'd put ice in my sleeves. All my drinks had ice. When I came into the coolers were always like everything was ice cold.
How hot
And
was
that
it? 115 you said or something?
I think at one point it was 115, but I'd say most of the time it was probably like high 80s, low 90s. And
Okay.
then especially East Coast, it's just like, 75,
Ugh.
80% humidity.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Um,
horrible.
yeah, it's like legit hot.
Yeah.
But in like one day
Yeah.
in East St. Louis, it was so hot. My friend, oh, I don't know if you know Tina Muir.
Yeah.
She
Yeah. I've interviewed her. Yeah.
yeah, she's awesome. But she did her first ultra with me, and that day it was
Oh, nice.
so hot, dude. So hot. She did such a good job just to be able to keep going. But like, yeah, it was really
Yeah.
hot. And then sometimes I would stop and get ice cream or like popsicles or
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And that's just nice to have like a treat in the middle of the heat in the afternoon. But I
Yeah.
didn't like take any breaks. Like some people plan it where they run in the morning and kind of take a siesta in the
Uh-huh.
in the afternoon and then kind of go later. And I just wanted to get it done within 6 to
Yeah.
6 because like
Yeah.
what I think a lot of people don't realize is like they think you just stop the truck and then you're just there and then you spend the night wherever you are, but most of the time that's not true. You have to like drive 45 minutes to a hotel and then someone has to check you in and then you have to go into the hotel, or you drive to an RV park, you have to hook up the RV, you have to like
Mm.
find the manager, you have to like figure out the code to the bathroom, and so like all that stuff
But
just takes time.
but your crew was doing that for you? Like, were you chilling or were you like heavily involved in all that?
Oh no, they were doing most of that. Like there were some
Okay.
times when
Okay.
I would have to do
So you
it,
could
but
chill.
yeah, I mean I could chill, but like you're still not settled, right? So
Of
like
course. Of course.
and then you're trying to figure out like where you're gonna eat, and like what I was surprised about is like sometimes in the middle of the country or more rural places, like stuff closes at like 5 or 6 o'clock. So like
Yes.
six
Yeah.
o'clock you get to somewhere and you're like, oh sweet, let's get some food, and then it's like nowhere's open. So you end up at forever. And like some places there's just nothing. And you're just like, okay, well we're eating out of the truck, which is fine.
Yeah.
But
So
like
I
you have
mean,
to
I
be
imagine
prepared
you
for that.
always, yeah, you don't always kept some stuff on hand just in case that happened then, I guess.
Yeah, but like I mean it's not as awesome for everyone, especially like
Yeah.
they've been eating out of the truck and making you food all day. The last thing they want to do
Sure.
is make more
Make more
food
food.
and then have to clean dishes up, right? So like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's rough. Is
Yeah.
it harder to eat in the cold or in the heat? Like at the extremes?
For me, it's usually in the heat, because you just don't feel like eating, or at least I don't.
Hmm.
And then, but it doesn't matter. Like if you want to do this, you got to just keep eating. So
Yeah.
like I just didn't, it wasn't a choice. It's kind of like that
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, like where he's like, there's no negotiation. Like you signed up for this. Like this is what you're
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
do. And so
Yeah.
like that's what you do. Like it's like that's why by the end I was done. Like I was like I don't think I ate the whole next day. Like I was just like I don't want anything.
Yeah. Oh, I can only imagine. Are you a heavy or salty sweater?
I'm a heavy sweater, but not particularly salty. Like I don't get the rings or anything like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Have you ever
so
done like any testing, any sodium testing or anything?
I feel like I was supposed to do something like that at the Gatorade lab once when I was working with them, but I don't think
Mm,
I've done that, and I don't think I've done it with MedStar either. I've done like VO2 max test, but I haven't done
okay.
anything like sweat test.
Do you feel like you have your like electrolytes really dialed in?
I mean, probably compared to most people, but not like professionally, say.
Yeah. I'm actually amazed that you haven't had it tested given how much testing you've had done.
Yeah, it's weird because I've done like like that fat study at University of
Yeah.
Connecticut, and I've done all this stuff with like MedStar,
Yeah.
and I do like stuff with Inside Tracker, who I think are really
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I haven't done like, and maybe that's something I should do in the future, but I feel like sometimes like that data is like, okay, cool, like my VO2 max is whatever it is, but like
Yeah.
that doesn't make you faster or anything. Like it's just like a reference point. I feel like some people like to throw it around like it means something, but
Yeah.
like your results mean way more than whatever your test results.
Of course. I mean, I find obviously if you're doing your own sweat test just with a scale, and like I actually just had my sodium tested through Precision Hydration. That was interesting. But I mean, at least it gives you, yeah, it was actually a really cool test. But it's interesting just to kind of get those numbers, and then you can kind of use it to tweak your nutrition planning, and especially in like hot, long conditions. I was just curious if you had done that
Well,
before.
actually that's not true. So I've done something with Nix. Do you know them?
Mm-mm.
It's like a sensor you wear and it can tell you when to drink based on your sweat levels. So I've done that. Like I've run with them or for them at the Boston Marathon. And so I guess I have, but I guess that wasn't like a controlled environment test, I guess. Like they weren't saying like drink this salty solution and let's see how much you sweat or something like that, or like we're gonna weigh you before and after. It was more like wear this patch and then we can take the data, and then eventually, and I think that the iteration that they're up to now is like you can wear the patch, and if you have your phone or like your watch, it can pair and tell you like, hey, you need 2 sips of a salty drink or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I think would be super helpful, because I mean it's actually probably more helpful than like the super shoes, right? Like, because I think you can lose like 10% efficiency becoming dehydrated, whereas like you might get 3 or 4% from the shoes. So I think it's actually a kind of a really cool technology once it kind of gets all dialed in.
Okay. Now you did wear something for heart research, an ECG.
Oh my God, I wore a Cardiac Insight. Those guys are awesome. Yeah. So
what did you find out anything? Like, do you have any results from that?
So I don't have any results yet, but like the team at MedStar are reviewing all the data. But like those things are awesome, because like we did one before the event, one the first 2 weeks, one kind of in the middle, one kind of the last 2 weeks, and then 1 to 2 weeks after. So we have like kind of snapshots, and like you wear the patch for 5 to 7 days, so it continually monitors your heart rate during that time. So
that's got to be fascinating. I'm really curious. Are you gonna like post on social media like what comes out, or how are you gonna share that?
Oh, I feel like I will once I get the data. So like that's something that I need to check with MedStar on to see what they're gonna do. And actually, I'm about to do a post for them about AFib, because it's like AFib awareness month this month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like that reminds me, actually I need to do that. But
well, I'm curious to see what comes out from that.
I think it should be really cool.
Yeah. Did you experience any new foods or cuisines along the way? I mean, I know you mentioned a few, but any kind of interest? I mean, you went through so many states. Like, was there anything kind of interesting or something that someone brought for you that was particularly unique?
The most unique thing that pops right into my head was maple syrup, like Indiana maple syrup. And it was so delicious. Like I always think maple syrup like Vermont or Canada, but like anywhere where there's maple trees, you can have maple syrup. And this Burton's maple syrup, they had us to their house and like fed us like this most amazing meal, and then showed us their production facility, and they like aged the maple syrup in like whiskey. And so like there's different I mean, you can just get straight maple syrup, or you can get like Applejack maple syrup, or you can get like smoky maple syrup. And so like, and they were like, hey, can you just like, take a sip and we can get a video for our social media. And I was like, okay, fine. I don't really like maple syrup, but I'll try it because why not? And it was delicious. So like, I was shocked, like, because I don't know, I think maple syrup, I think like log cabin or something. This was like not that. This was like.
Wait, have you not had real maple syrup before?
No, I have, and I was just like, whatever. I don't think it's that good. But like.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
okay,
so,
wait.
like,
so you don't like chocolate and you don't like maple syrup.
Well, now I do.
These
like
are
maple
points
syrup.
against you.
Yeah. Well, now I do like maple syrup. So they've like totally like changed my mind on it. Like, I was like, well, maybe maybe it's like those things like when you were little, you don't like tomatoes, and then you grow up and you're
Yeah.
like, tomatoes are awesome. So
What
like,
do you put on pancakes and waffles? Are you like putting honey on it?
yes, I usually
Okay.
put almond butter and honey on
Oh,
waffles.
okay. There you go. So maybe
Yeah.
now you'll try maple syrup.
Oh my gosh, I totally had that during the run. So like sometimes we would
Awesome.
get like um pancakes from somewhere or make our own, and I would use the maple syrup. And so like or sometimes I would just drink it plain because it's actually really good. So yeah, I was surprised. That was the one biggest thing. And the other thing was like I thought I would eat a lot more pickles, and like the idea of pickles was really good for me, but actually the execution was I didn't love pickles as much as I thought I would.
Interesting.
So I
What salty thing did you crave the most?
um, I thought it was usually it's barbecue Pringles, and those actually lost their appeal to me also.
Mm,
So I'd say it was probably like I put Old Bay on a lot of stuff. Do you know that
okay.
seasoning?
Yeah.
So I would put that on stuff, and so I would have
Yeah.
like pasta with red sauce and just cover it in Old Bay.
Yeah. I mean, the other part about all this, I mean, obviously you're doing all of this running, but I heard you talk about all of the roadkill that you saw. And
Oh,
like, I can't even imagine what that did to your appetite. Cause like in the heat and it smells disgusting and you're like seeing all of this dead stuff everywhere.
oh
Like,
my gosh. And
that's
the
gotta be
hotter
rough.
it was, the further you could smell it, dude. So
Ugh.
like
It's like New York City trash in the summer. Oh my God.
yeah. Yeah, don't they call it like Pea City in the summer or something?
Oh, I
Like
don't know. It's just gross.
yeah, well, it's funny because someday I want to do that run where you run around the block, the
Oh,
Transcendental.
yes. Transit. Yeah. I know. In Queens.
Yes, exactly. And
Yeah,
you and
totally.
you run like 3,100 miles around the
Yeah.
block.
Yeah.
But like I feel like it just started. Like it's on day like 7 or 8, but I thought it was like more in the summer.
I don't
Um,
know. I don't
but
know.
anyhow, yeah, that I can imagine would be really unique to just get a feel for like, oh, here's the stinky corner, or here's where the people don't clean up their trash, or like the trash pandas get into everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah,
Oh
I
man.
did. I saw like most every day I'd see like I don't know 10 to 12, no 10 to 15 dead snakes.
Ugh, I
Um,
just saw my first dead snake yesterday. It was
oh
pretty
really?
gross.
Yeah.
I've never seen a dead snake. Yeah, it was just on the sidewalk. It was pretty interesting. My kids really enjoyed looking at it though.
Yeah, like but there was I mean I saw all kind I mean dead cows, like bones,
What?
like oh
Oh,
yeah, dead cows, dead
nasty.
oh, what's interesting is possums. Like a lot of like
Oh,
possum
yuck.
families, because I guess
Oh
possums
man.
like go and check on the person that got hit, and then more of them get hit. So like
Oh god.
yeah, it's really interesting. Like,
That's
I don't know if
horrible.
this is like someone should fact check this. Like, I don't know if you have a
I
fact
have no
checker
idea.
at the end,
I do
but
not.
like, but like, but that's what someone told me is like if one possum comes out and it gets hit, then the other ones go to check it and they get hit.
And then it's like a
Um,
vicious cycle and they all get hit. It just
yeah,
keeps going.
yeah, well, yeah, it's like I
Oh
read
my
this
god.
book about like these birds and I don't know, like the 1800s, and people would hunt them, but like if you shoot one, they all come to check on it, and then you can just keep shooting them. So like they became extinct because
Yeah.
people would shoot them. So
Yeah.
extinction.
Well, this is a nice segue into, I mean, I know this isn't particular, I know we're going to wrap it up, but like there was just so much crazy stuff that the drivers and trucks on the road did. And like some of it was
Oh yeah.
good. It made me laugh. And some of it was insane. Like throwing food at you, yelling at you. Like, can you just briefly highlight some of the positive and negative things that happened while running on the road? Because just to give us like, paint the picture a little bit. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
kind of insane.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. That was probably one of the hardest challenges was like, and that was something I was really scared about and had led me to postpone doing this for so many years, is that I'm terrified of cars and traffic. And by the end, you would think I was so cavalier, I was just like, whatever, like if they're going to hit me, they're going to hit me. But there were a lot of very tight moments and scary parts of the run. And I'd say every day there were angry drivers. They were flicking us off or yelling at us, or just me, or swerving across the median, or not the median, but the breakdown lane line, kind of like the shoulder to kind of scare us or
So
whatever.
weird. I just don't understand that. I mean, I know it's not something you're supposed to understand, but like, I just don't
Yeah,
get it.
I don't
So
either.
weird.
And I spent a lot of time thinking about it because I was out
Like,
there
what
a
is their
lot.
problem?
Right. Well, and I think, and I don't know, maybe I'm projecting, but I feel like it's kind of scary because like they have a chance where they actually might, something could go wrong and they could hit you and they, it could cause them to get in trouble and then I think a lot of it is just like it's something so foreign to them that they're just not used to seeing it, and so then maybe it's just like, why is that person doing that? They shouldn't be out here. This is dangerous, and I'm going to teach them a lesson or something. I don't know. Like
So weird.
it doesn't make any sense to me. But
No.
yeah, there were a lot of instances where people were just, super upset and sometimes like the road, a lot of times the road is super tight. So like, it might cause them to have to go into the other lane. And so then they feel like their safety's in jeopardy because, you're out there.
Yeah.
And it's just, it makes it harder for them, and so like and in turn they might take it out on you. And but like I'd say for every person that was mean, and probably had 8 people that were kind and like stopping their car to offer us water or me water, like when it was really hot out, or checking to make sure my car wasn't broken down somewhere.
Yeah, were they really confused? They're like, what is this person doing?
Yeah, totally. Like there was most of the time they were just shocked. Like they would,
Yeah.
because a lot, sometimes you're in the middle of nowhere. Like there's like no town close to you. Like there's no
Yeah.
exit. Like they're just like wondering like how the hell you got there. And so like I think that was a big part of it too, is like just it was shocking. And then I think some people are just in a bad mood about stuff, and so,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd say more people are nice, stopping, making sure you're okay, and if you needed anything. And I'd say like I think I've said this in another podcast, but like I'm super pro team America. Like we have a great country, people are really genuine and cool, and it's a really beautiful place. Oh, but like I was actually thinking, like you were saying, like I just remembered like there was like so many little like unique places. Like I went to this place called Dairy King, not Dairy Queen, and so it was like only a 2, and like they had like the most amazing menu, and they had so much vegan stuff, and it was just in the middle of like Indiana or Illinois. Like it was like you would not expect, and it was mostly like an ice cream place, but it was like crazy. They had like crazy like vegan ice cream and stuff, and you're just
how
like,
random.
Wow. And then
I mean, how else? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking like I went to like a root beer stand that's been there for like 1920, like and I would have never known unless the person that was running with me was like, hey, this place is like really unique. And I would ask that, is there somewhere unique in this area it's kind of like what you were saying, like what unique foods or whatever. And so I would always ask about that, and West Virginia, it might be like pepperoni rolls, and wherever. Oh, in Cincinnati, they have like special chili, and they're like, and I was like, well, that's like something I got to come back for, because I'm not eating chili the night before I have to run 50 miles, right? But it was like those are the type of things where you're like, damn, I want to come back. Or like the people would be like, oh, so if you want to go out to dinner tonight, like this part of town is really cool, and like what they didn't realize is like all you want to do is just go to bed, and like the last thing you want to do is go to a restaurant and have to sit down and eat and like just the whole thing.
But like what an amazing way to experience the country. And I know I need to do more travel all around the US. Like I've been to here and there, but a lot of just the coast. And I've always wanted to do some sort of cross-country trip or go visit different places, but I mean you really can't recreate what you did, or see it any better than on foot, right? I mean, biking is the next best thing, but really on foot you really get to soak a lot in, and even better because so many people got to join you on your journey. You get that intel and you build those relationships, and that's something special.
It was incredible. Yeah. I mean, it was really one of the most unique experiences ever. And had so many cool people that I got a chance to meet, hang out with, and get to learn about. Yeah, it was like one of those things where it's like a life-changing experience that not a lot of, I think more people have been on the moon or to space than have run across the country. Like it's a crazy thing. Definitely more people have been on the top of Everest. Like it's pretty unique.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure it's kind of hard to beat that. I mean, what was coming off of that like? I mean, you said you're still kind of recovering or you're kind of just gradually getting back to it. So it's been a few months already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how has kind of mentally and physically coming down from that been?
Yeah, like I mean, you get that what next question all the time, right? And I feel like I've always continued to evolve as an athlete, and so I keep throwing out a couple things that have always kind of been intriguing to me, like doing the Appalachian Trail. That's like a big passion project. Like even probably before the Transcon, that's something I'd wanted to do. And so when I crossed that like mile threshold when I was running across the country, I was like, oh my gosh, I just ran the distance of the Appalachian Trail. And so
Wow.
that was really cool. And I think that experience would be incredibly rewarding. And so like that's something I want to do coming up here soon, hopefully. And then rowing across the Atlantic, I think that would be one of those kind of epic adventures. And I definitely don't have the skill set yet to.
Yeah, I was like, do you row?
No, I mean I do row, but not very far. Like I saw
Yeah.
some guy rowed a million meters.
What? Wow.
Yeah, it just happened. Like it took him like 6 days to row like a million meters or something.
Wow.
It was really amazing. He just set a world record today or yesterday.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I do not have that skill set yet. But like that's something like I don't know. I feel like I want to explore a lot of different parts of the world and in different ways, and so like yeah, running's how I'm doing it now, and I hope to continue to do that for the foreseeable future. But there's also other ways to excited about.
Yeah. Yeah. Last question. You ended your whole run at a beer company in Delaware, but
Yeah, Dewey
I didn't
beer.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't think you drink. So what did you order?
I didn't get anything. So and
Nothing?
well, it's
No,
funny because yeah, my friend Brandon and his partners like are supporters, like they're one of my sponsors, and so
Okay.
I went there and they actually created a beer called Thrills that they do. It's like a seasonal, and they created it and they put like my face, like they modeled it after me for like this 4th of July weekend, and yeah, I think I maybe had like a sip and I was like, okay, I'm good. But hopefully we'll have like I'm very curious about non-alcoholic beers, and so Brandon and I've been talking about trying to produce a non-alcoholic beer, and so maybe if I do a big project like this again, have something ready for next time. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Mike, for spending so much time with me again. It's always such a pleasure and so much fun talking to you. And congrats again on the Transcon run. Really, really amazing.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a real pleasure, and sorry the dogs barked a little bit, so hopefully
it's all good.
Won't be too bad for your listeners. I hope they'll apologize for Rosie and Bash cameos.
It's all good. All good. Well, hope everything continues to feel good. Have an amazing time at your 100-miler. Hope you get that win. And we'll be following you along as always.
All right. Cool, man. Thank you very much.
Bye, Mike.
Bye.
That's our show for today. Thank you, Mike, for spending time with me once again and for continuing to inspire us all with your accomplishments and your wonderful attitude towards life. And now it's time for me to ask you guys a favor. If you're enjoying my show and you haven't already rated and reviewed it on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast, please do this for me. I would really appreciate it. And also, if you're interested in working together on your nutrition, I do have a few more private client openings left. You can visit my website, eatforendurance.com, and either book a free intro call on my Calendly page, or if you know you want to work together, you can just go ahead and book a session with me on there as well. Any questions, just let me know. And lastly, as you know, this show is a bit sporadic with recording based on my availability and also my ability to schedule guests. So please be patient with me and just do know that there are more episodes coming, just on a little bit of an erratic timeline. I am planning to record another Ask Me Anything episode very soon. So if you have more questions for me for that one, please send them my way, either via Instagram, I'm Eat for Endurance on there, or via email, eatforendurance@gmail.com. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic day.